Hi, welcome to the YouTube channel. I'm going to paint using watercolor and make a sunset. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a horizon line, and in the center of the horizon line I'm going to put a dot, and then I'm going to draw a triangle with a midline, and that wasn't correct, so I fixed that. So here's my first plank. Line up the corner with the midline, find your dot, and then draw your next plank. So line up the corner to the midline, find your next plank. So if this is new to you, this is called, I call it spacing. I have a tutorial and I will put that in the comments below so you can watch it in kind of in a slower format, but this is how you do spacing, which I think is super cool. So after you finish deciding how long you want this to be, erase your extra lines. I'm leveling this off for my post. You don't have to do that, dropping my lines down for a vertical line. And then once I finish doing that, I'm going to give it a little bit of dimension by giving it an oval on the top. And then I'm going to find the parameters of it. So line this up with the vanishing point, VP, and then take it there. So I'm going to end it. I'm going to level this off so that I have them equal. And I'm going to line the top off here to find the parameters to see how wide it's going to be further back in space. It's not as wide. Drop my vertical lines down and then make the oval. And I'm going to do another one over here. You don't have to do that, but I thought it would look cool. Great. So once you have this, you're going to erase as needed, and then I think you're ready to paint. Just kind of refine your lines, see what you like, look at pictures if you need to. And so I'm going to start off with blue watercolors, and I'm going to start off in the foreground. I'm making it pretty dark, and then after I get a nice thick layer of paint here in the foreground, I'm going to clean my brush and just kind of drag it out. So I'm going to stroke it. So this is a gradation. That's what I'm creating here. And I'm keeping it pretty light. This is going to be my first layer or my first wash of watercolor. And then after it dries, I'm going to put another layer on it. So there's nothing on my brush, and I'm just dragging the paint to the horizon line, and I'm starting over again just like that. So take your time doing this and fiddle it about. Let's see what works for you. I changed the position of where my hand is to get closer so I can get more details as I get closer to the dock. So whatever works for you, just try to level it off around the dock, and then this I'm erasing that or blotting it with a paper towel, whatever works. Great, so I'm going to line up the top and tidy up the edges, and I think I might add a little bit more blue. So after I finish doing the blue, what I need to do is turn it upside down because I really don't want to reach over the blue and get yellow on it. So here's the yellow. I'm loading up my brush and I'm going to make a sunset. So here's the yellow, big blob, and then I'm going to take some orange, and I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to be near it, and it's going to touch by itself. So I'm going to take some water and just stroke it across. This is called wet and wet, allowing it to just kind of flow in the water on your page, and then I'm going to add some red. So let this kind of drag across. There we go. And then clean your brush and just let it drag straight across. A damp brush kind of brings them together. Alright, and then let this dry. So turn the paper back over, clean up any mistakes that got into the water if you don't like that. I'm just cleaning this up with a dry brush, stroking it over, lifting it up. So I'm going to use Burnt Sienna. My paper started to buckle, so I'm holding it down with my other hand or my fingernail, and I'm just going along the edges here where I had a dark line to outline my planks. And after I finish doing that, I'm just going to have a damp brush, nothing on it, and just stroke across just to kind of have the paint merge and kind of soften that stroke that I originally did. So I'm going to darken the top of the post, and then I'm going to drag the paint down, and after I drag that down, I might add a little bit of blue to the Burnt Sienna to darken it and make it more of a burnt umber look. But that's a choice. I think it looks kind of cool when you do that. So I will do that also in my second layer. So this is my first layer for everything. So let's go ahead, add more color to the sunset. I want it more vibrant, so I'm adding more orange and now more yellow, stroking it across, and also then I'm going to add a little bit more red. So this is my second layer. It's called a wash, and I'm just trying to do a little bit of wet into wet so I have some soft lines in the sky. And have fun with this. Take your time. This is the red, and just go across. Fantastic. All right, I'll be right back. So if you notice, my hand is a lot closer to the end of the brush because I'm trying to get some more details. This area is a little bit drier and I'm stroking my lines. Maybe I'll show some of that just for some texture. I don't know, I'll decide later on if I like it or not. I have added the blue with the burnt sienna so it's not so reddish and it looks a little bit more grayish. I think it's a very pretty color. And I'm going to add some details to my dock. So I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, so now I'm ready to put more paint on the water, and I'm stroking it horizontally, leaving some blotches to it. I like the edge of the paper to kind of be straight, but inside it I have this open area where you can see underneath it for the first layer and then the second layer. I just think it looks more like water, but you can do whatever you want. And then because I want the reflection in the center, what I'm going to do is put the blue to the right and to the left onto the edge of the paper, leaving some area so I don't make green when I add the yellow to it. So go ahead and watch my process and I will be right back. Alright, this area I might need to blot, and I'll be back to that area in a bit. So these are some stroking on some yellow for the reflection, trying to stay away from the blue so I don't make green, but if you do that, it's okay. Then I'm going to take some orange and stroke that on, and yeah, I think it's going to look really cool. So I ended up putting a lot more color in the water later on, and if it makes brown, that's kind of what a sunset has. It has its beautiful vibrant colors, but it also has brown. So let's go ahead and use red. That's going to look really great on top of the blue. It's getting merging with the sky, which I think looks kind of cool, and because there's really no lines there, at least for me. And anyway, so go ahead and watch my process and I will be back. So I decided to use a pencil here, and instead of a pen, you do use a pen, make sure it's super dry because it can ruin the pen if the paper is wet. So I'm using the pencil. I thought the gray would look kind of nice and give it some more texture for the wood. And so also I want it dark because it's a silhouette against a very bright, shiny sky, and that's kind of normally what happens. So I'm going to add a little bit more details here and there with my brush, actually just kind of softening it too, moving the paint around. You really do have to watch watercolors because they start to change in time and you just need to make sure it's working out the way you want it to. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, liking, and subscribing to my YouTube channel. This is how to do a sunrise, sunset, and a dock. All right, take care.